Hello everyone, my name is Jemima and welcome to my How to Self-Publish a Book series. I will be sharing with you my steps to publishing a poetry collection, and you can use this as a guide for short stories, essays, or anything under 100 pages. I'm currently in the process of getting ready to publish my second poetry collection. This is the next collection that's coming out, and I'll be using Amazon KDP to publish after I had such a good experience publishing my first poetry collection with Amazon KDP. From that experience, I've learned some things and I've created this guide. I will be using the 9 steps I created after self-publishing Needed My Breakup Song to help me with my next poetry collection and make the process a little bit easier. So these 9 steps are useful for me to track the progress with where I am with my next collection, and I can create deadlines and targets to help me reach my publishing goals using these 9 steps. I started this series first talking about why you should self-publish. So go ahead and watch that video if you want to learn a little bit about my reasons and why I think it's a good idea for you to self-publish and also to self-publish using Amazon KDP. It will help you as we go through the next couple of steps, create a good foundation to know the reasons why you are self-publishing. The 9 steps I'll be following is writing, creating a manuscript, the design and wrapping, signing up for Amazon KDP, taking a break, having a final edit, re-uploading your work and officially publishing it on Amazon KDP, and finally marketing the book that you have spent so long creating. With this book, I've currently done steps 1 and 2, which is writing a manuscript, and I'm getting ready to move on to part 3 and 4, which is designing and wrapping and making this book have a really nice package. So today I'm going to give you 7 tips on how to write more so you can reach your next goal of creating a manuscript. First of all, I want to talk about why writing is important to me and why it makes sense for me to continue on my journey of self-publishing. I write because I want to communicate and share an idea. This idea is a feeling, a story, or an essay, and the idea can be fact or just from my imagination. And for me, I generally just want to communicate and share that idea with other people. I don't want it to just stay with me. And the reason why I am enjoying self-publishing so much is because it's giving me the opportunity to package my idea in a really nice way. Initially, I didn't begin having the fact that I was going to write a book and self-publish in mind. I just had an idea. It was a simple feeling and I wrote it down. As I was writing down these little ideas, they became poems. And the more I wrote down my feelings and the more I wrote down my ideas, I had several poems ready. And I realized that with these poems, I could actually turn this into a body of work. They show a part of my life, not completely everything, but they can tell the story of a particular period of my life. And I see that as me sharing a personal story. When I was writing these poems, they felt quite random. However, when I put them together, it really showed this personal journey of mine. I wanted to share my story with as many people who wanted to connect to it. And to reach these people, I had to come up with a way to publish it. And so what I did after deciding I wanted to publish was look through all the poems I had and pick out several ones that could go into a collection. And then this document that I had, the finished product, is called a manuscript. Now, before I decided to jump into self-publishing, I had already created a blog. This was actually the thing I did before I even thought about books. When I realized I wanted to share my poems, I created a WordPress account and I started posting my poems from there. I just had that desire to communicate and share. I felt that writing and posting the work I had written on my blog was a good way for me to get used to people seeing my work and having a conversation about my work. And it's a good way to practice being comfortable with the fact that your work is available to the public. There's a difference between writing something and only you seeing versus you writing something and then it's made available to everyone, and like you just have this feeling that comes over you. Sometimes you're just like, oh my god. It's mostly anxiety from me anyway. Sometimes it's excitement, but it is definitely different knowing that there's eyes on this piece of writing. And so my number 1 tip with how to write more is basically get comfortable with writing and sharing that work online. You can do this in the form of a blog, or you can post on Instagram, #InstaPoets. Putting your work online is a good way to create a community of people who want to hear what you have to say. And these people would also look forward to what you have to say. And they can also give you feedback, they can help you out, they can just help you grow as a writer in general. And most importantly, it will give you that confidence, that comfortability of, okay, my work is available to the public. Because I know personally, sometimes we get so protective of what we're writing, and that's fine in some cases, but it's also really good to share some things that you're working on. And so my second tip is to write regularly as much as you can. Whenever you feel an idea, whenever something sparks off in your brain, write it down. Like grab your phone, grab a notepad and just start writing. don't push the idea of waiting. Honestly, there have been times when it's like 2 a.m. I'm waking up and grabbing my phone because I need to write. I get bursts of creativity at random times, and I have to listen to that voice, because honestly, what happens if you don't listen to that voice when it's speaking to you is that you will forget it. And so whenever you feel something, write it down. It's really important that you write regularly as much as you can, because it will help you in your manuscript process, because you'll be cutting things out. You have to sieve through all the different texts that you have. And so the more you have, the more opportunity you have to cut down and make it flow better. Instead of you thinking you wish you'd written more, when you're doing your manuscript, you can just cut down the bits that you think are not as relevant. However, if you only write when you feel like writing, for the most part, you will not be consistent. You know, some people might feel creative every day and are able to write, you know, and they get a burst of idea, they can write for 16 hours straight. You know, there have been cases like that. People have written books in a week or 1 month period. You know, they just have an idea and they just sit and get it done. However, for some of us, that's not the case. Sometimes it takes practice, sometimes it takes work, sometimes it takes effort to just continue to work on the piece of text that you are creating. And honestly, you will not always be in the mood to write. Sometimes you won't know what to say, you feel writer's block, you don't have any creativity. Writing can be really tricky. And so in order to be consistent, in order to get used to writing more and writing more regularly, I think it's very important that you create a writing routine. And so my next 5 tips will be about my writing routine, and I'm sharing that with you guys to see if it can help you create your own writing routine. My writing routine is very important to me because sometimes I need to write texts and essays to meet a deadline. I am a content creator, and so the main deadline I have is to post content regularly. At the moment, I try to post weekly content on my YouTube and my blog. I'm also trying to write a fiction book, and I've given myself a deadline in my head to try to get that out. And I'm just trying to make sure that I write enough to be able to meet these deadlines that I have. With planning for my blog and YouTube channel, as well as writing this fiction book, it requires a lot more structure than when I write my poetry. All my poems have come at random times. I've never had to sit down and force myself to write one. Compared to the skincare videos, the book videos, and other type of contents that I need to plan, these require more structure, because with my skincare video, I need to do a bit of research and make sure I'm putting in accurate information. And with my books video, I'm writing an essay, and so there's a topic I want to discuss. And then there's other type of content where I just have to plan it out so that when I do get in front of the camera, I'm not waffling. And so when I'm writing these types of pieces, they're usually longer than my poems, and so they require more attention and time. Honestly, sometimes it can be very mundane and boring just sitting there and writing. Sometimes I just don't want to do it because of how unexciting the process is. And so that's why this writing routine is important, to get me to at least create an environment that will help me when I'm struggling with these feelings. Having this writing routine has honestly helped me be more productive and reach my deadlines. And so my 3rd tip for how to write more is to find a quiet space to work and close the door. I am aware that some people might not have an ideal quiet space to work at home, so there are libraries, parks, and coffee shops available for you to work in. These are good environments because you are around other people who are also working, and that might increase your motivation. However, places like the parks and coffee shops might be a bit louder compared to the library. But if you do get in your zone, even if you're in a coffee shop, the background noise can just filter out. My 4th tip is have a clean desk or table. The space that you are writing on matters so much. If there's a lot of clutter on the desk, you won't have space to put your laptop, your notebook, or any other resources you need that helps you write. And also, if you can, get yourself a comfortable chair, because when you're writing for hours, it takes a toll on you physically. Your hands will hurt and your back will hurt. So if you're in a comfortable chair, it will make the process better. So it might not be possible to always have a comfortable chair, especially when you're working out in a coffee shop or something like that. But as long as your desk area, the table that you're working on, is clean, it should get you in a good mood to write. And so my 5th tip is to minimize distraction. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes writing is mundane and boring, it's a task. And so you will have many opportunities to give into the temptation of stopping. And the main temptation is through distraction. And the biggest one that we have in our generation is when our phone goes ping, and you have a notification. It is from Instagram, from WhatsApp, or even the sports update. And you check that notification and you just scroll through what you think is 1 second. However, it's been 20 minutes that you've been on your phone, 20 minutes taken away from the writing time that you had allocated. And so if you know that you are weak to your phone going off and you want to check what's always happening, put your phone away during your writing sessions. Or if you're like me who uses it as a timer, put your notifications on silent or do not disturb so you don't receive any notifications during your writing sessions. Number 6 is also very important, which is having a drink with you, preferably water or any liquid of your choice that will keep you hydrated. Writing is a task. It drains you mentally and physically, and so you need to look after yourself, you need to look after your body during this process. And so staying hydrated is very important. The last thing you want is to get tired more quickly because you're not drinking your water. I also recommend a small snack to have with you if you're doing super long writing sessions. And finally, my 7th tip is to set a timer for how long you want to write. And for those who can, when you have decided on a time that you'd like to write, try to make that the time you always write. Have that be a set routine. However, I know that's not always possible because some people have different work-life schedules, but if you can, maybe do it first thing in the morning or last thing at night for an hour. And if you're doing that every single day, you have that consistency growing within you. An hour is usually the minimum amount of time I force myself to write. And so when it's time for me to write and I sit in front of my laptop, I sit there for an hour. Sometimes I write, sometimes I just stare at my laptop. However, I'm attending my writing sessions. And that just shows, my brain, my heart, my imagination, everything, that I'm sincere and that I'm turning up to this. Some days you might write a little, some days you might write a lot. You don't really know how much you're going to write in each session. However, the fact that you're doing it every day means that you're writing more at least. When you don't know what to write, a good idea is to just journal, because that gives you a chance to reflect and really tap into how you're feeling and what you're thinking about. And it might not be the type of content, it might not be the type of fiction book that you are aiming for. However, it is getting you to still write and practice communicating a feeling, an idea. When you journal during your writing sessions, it's also very therapeutic and will help you maybe get into the zone of writing when you've calmed down and relaxed. And so during this writing session, for example, if you set 1 hour time, also set how long you want to have your breaks for. However, avoid taking too many breaks. If you're taking a break every 10 minutes, you're just going to lose focus. You're not really being present in that moment. You're always thinking about getting up. You're giving into the distractions if you're taking a break every 10 minutes. For me, when I do my 1 hour sessions, I set my break to be 20 minutes into it. So after 20 minutes, I pause and do a 2 to 5 minute break, and then I come back and do 40 minutes. If I'm really in the zone, sometimes I just skip that 20-minute break, and also I can extend my writing session. It doesn't have to stay 1 hour. If I feel like continue to write, I will continue to write. However, the minimum I must do is 1 hour a day. That is the personal target I have given myself. And so with that, we've come to the end of my tips for how to write more. Like I said, writing a lot is necessary so you can move on to the next step of the manuscript. If you want to see more content from me about my writing process and my self-publishing journey, you can sign up for my Author Road membership. I will be sharing with you guys exclusive poems, talking about how I'm trying to become a better writer, the different things that I'm experimenting with, as well as just more detailed self-publishing truths. So sign up for my Author Road membership if you're interested to see a little bit more behind the scenes to my journey. Also, if you want to see a completed work from me, Needy, my breakup song, is available on Amazon. You can grab yourself a copy and you can see my first attempt at self-publishing. While going through this and reflecting on this, there's so many things I want to change and do better for my next book. And so if you're interested to follow my process to getting this book self-published, make sure you come back and check out the next video, which will be talking about the manuscript. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope my self-publishing series will be helpful for you on your journey. If you enjoyed this video, I want to see more from the series. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the notification bell so you know when I post, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.